Welcome back to another episode of Duel Alliance with myself, Alicia Solomon, and Megan Hines. We have our favorite person to recap the challenge with, Grant. Um, looking for G. I feel like your name is Grant LaShawn on YouTube. Am I making that up?
I took it off. It was on there, but I took it off for corporate reasons. I'm like, corporate don't need to find me. But
Okay,
it's
corporate.
it's GT. It's GT on there. My nickname. It's on there.
Okay,
But
we're
it
gonna
was
tag it below because he does recaps as well on the challenge. But we are back to discuss episode 4 of season 40 of the challenge. This episode coming in hot, very controversial at the end, of course, with the elimination. Of course, we had the actual daily itself and a certain white woman who don't know how to mind her business. Okay, and I'm talking about you, Laurel,
I
because what was
can't wait
that?
to hear y'all. I can't
What
wait to
was
hear y'all
that?
talk.
What was
That
that?
was crazy.
Okay.
Unhinged. Unhinged.
At best. At best,
Crazy.
unhinged. But we'll talk about
Well,
all of that and more in this recap.
yes. And we start off the episode. First off, Grant, what are your initial thoughts of the season? 3 episodes, 4 episodes in of the season.
I'm
Just
loving
real
it.
quick.
I've said it every single in my recaps. I'm like, I don't want to say I love it because when I say I love it, it always ends up being bad. But honestly, the first, even from the episode 0, the launch special, I loved it because I feel like with just having all different eras and half of it being people that we, speaking of three of us, and the majority loved watching, grew up watching, having them back, the ones that aren't fake, the ones that get on the TV and just are literally themselves, mixed with the fake ones, you get to see them kind of reacting and doing certain things that we online are saying in real time. But I love it. I feel like I like the way they're editing the show. The music is better because the music we always talk about when I'm on here with y'all. All Stars, the music, the soundtrack, A1. The flagship show here recently, I hated the music, but that's good. I like the way they're pacing the show. I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. Best season of the most recent ones for sure.
Most better. It's a better opening to the seasons as we've seen like recently. Like we've had like good starts, and like you said, things go to shit later on. But we had a really great start to the season with a lot of different twists and whatnot. And one of the twists that they gave us were that we had people picked for targets by the winners of nations. And from last episode, those people were Derrick and Annessa from Era 1, Laurel and Bananas from Era 2, Naya and Jordan from Era 3, and Horacio and Jenny from Era 4. And we come to the episode, and Laurel is still pissed off at Darrell for even picking her to be a target. And I'm like, why are you mad at this man? I don't think he really like is pressed about it. It's just you taking it too personal for me at this point. I'm like, he ain't no, he stalled. He's like, one person, I'm just gonna pick Laurel. Leave it be.
And then thinking about the people that he could have chosen from that era, he wouldn't have chose Carr because that was his previous partner on Fresh Meat 2. He wouldn't have chose Aviv. That was his Fresh Meat 1 partner that he won the show with. And then who else is Laurel? And who else was up there?
Emily.
He could have chose Emily, but then again, I'm like choosing Laurel is smart because Laurel's a strong competitor. You want to weaken that team, so putting Laurel, regardless of if that was his reason to do it or not, it was a smart decision. I was questioning two of his other decisions, but that one was that one was a good one.
I wasn't gonna question the Anissa one though, because Anissa is Anissa.
I get it, but I'm like the optics. I'm like, sir, the two black women, you chose them. I was like, Darrell, what are you doing? Because he pissed me off that episode. But he got me back later on when he was activated.
He clocked that T.
we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
And then we see Josh and Tori. I know I went on about them last episode. They always come back to each other at some point. They mended fences after Josh yelled at that lady and she cried the white lady tears. But they're back being friends, and she apologized. He apologized. He's like, hey, at the end of the day, we got a good group of friends that are here that will help us, and we're gonna quote unquote run the game.
He's full of shit. We could get to him later as well, but what he did at the end,
Yeah.
he is full of pure caca. Like, you talk all of this stuff about, oh, I want to, be better players mentally, physically, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you do the same old nonsense that you always do. And I didn't watch Big Brother, so I don't know how he played there, but I'm pretty sure he was the same person that he was on that show, on this show. And that just goes to show you who he is. Like, he's not going to change. So I'm not surprised that they quote unquote made up. I did like the fact that he did call her out last week, but I knew it wasn't going to last just because he needed those numbers on his side. And if he really would have dismissed her, he would have been on an island by himself.
Touche. And he's always been a punk. He played that punk game on Big Brother. He only won that show because that cast they had was so bitter. The one that he was in the final two with, they just did not want him to win. That's why they voted for Josh to win. But yeah, what you were saying too, like him talking about, I've worked so hard, I've been training, I'm confident in my abilities, but when you get the chance to go in here and do what you said you was gonna do, volunteer, you bitched out. But we'll get to it. Classic Josh.
Before we get to that, we take a trip to Trivia Land because this is always a delight to see because TJ loves it, we love it, but the cast don't love it because they don't be smart in the head like that. Most of them don't be like that. And also Kylan was very excited to do trivia because that man knows a lot, but don't know too much because some of those questions that he answered were bad. And for him to be a super fan as well, horrible.
His team, truthfully, because I felt like his team, super fanish as they are, you would think they would have performed better.
Yeah. But the game is called Cradle Cranium. I initially thought it was Cradle. That's what I thought I heard TJ say, but it's Cradle Cranium. And they are hoisted up over the water in cradle position, and they have to answer questions pertaining to the show that fall under different categories, which are history, hookups, geography, throwdowns, random stuff, and challengers in the wild. And the point difficulty ranges from 100 points to 400. And if they got it wrong, 2 players from the team would fall into the water, and the team with the most points at the end won. Also, real quick with this daily, I got a bone to pick with somebody we'll get to later on because that really did not make no sense. But also, teacher said targets that were picked will go into nation if their team read first to fall down. So the first question was the first solo challenge champion, and that was to Arrow 3. Jordan was the one to answer the question. And this man was literally in the same room when that person won. But he happened to say that the first solo champion was Wes, when it was really Cara Maria. That man is full of shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, how was that?
What are you sorry about?
That was I feel like that was the easiest question that was asked. I'm like, no. There was another one that was easy. Well, I feel like they probably equally the easiest question. That one, I mean, obviously it was Cara Maria. I'm like, but that was one of a few months. I felt like he threw that. I feel like he threw that question because how did you not know that?
Yeah, because you were really in the room.
We saw you clap that one hand. I mean, I will say the throwing of the challenge threw me off. Like, I didn't believe it until he did what he did later on. But then also his interview, his post interview about it, and then his post interview about it. You know what I mean? Like the podcast, whatever, his recap, whatever he was doing. and then the other people saying and like really supporting this idea. Why are you throwing a challenge episode 4? Like, I have questions, but I don't have questions because I know who we're dealing with at the core. But for me, episode 4 throwing a challenge is real crazy. Like, that's nasty
Especially
work.
when you just lost one of your members. You just lost Tony's dumbass. Like,
the fact that you call him Tommy is hilarious.
whatever the fuck. Like, it's crazy to me. And then we're gonna get to it, but the way he gave it away that he threw that challenge. I was like, is he throwing this?
Yeah.
But whenever that moment happened, I'm like, yeah, he did for sure.
Yeah. Another question. Well, after that question, majority got it wrong. Corey and Naya both dropped. Eric's 4 got a question as well. And of course, Josh was the one to pick Throwdown as a category.
It's this one. I'm like, this one. How do you? This is one of the for the challenge. This is like up there as one of the most iconic moments. How do you not know this? But go ahead, Megan.
The question was, who got in the fight on a Duel 2 at the beginning of the season? That man said Darrell and Derrick. First of all, when did Darrell and Derrick ever get in a fight? The only fight I knew Darrell to get in was the one with Brad. That's it.
And that's the one I was thinking he was thinking, but that wasn't in the beginning of the season. That was like damn near at the end of what was it, the Ruins, I think. It was damn near at the end of that season. I'm like, how do you not know it's CT and Adam? That is one of the most iconic moments. When you think of the challenge, that's one of the moments that you think of. CT boxing his face in and then chasing him around the damn house to do it again.
Adam crying for his life. And like really trying to fight for his life at the end of the day. Like really, he tried to stand up to CT, but he couldn't. Because CT back then was a juiced up monster who was
that boy was crazy.
like real Boston, like crazy. You know what I mean? So I mean, again, he's not really a super fan. I feel like Kylan is probably the only person on that cast or on that era, quote unquote, that's a super fan, quote unquote. Casey may know a little something, but that might she not even on there. She not even on there. She in there in spirit. Casey is probably the only other person who would know like off of Nani, but also she's not there either. So I think Kylan was the only one who probably could have really held him down in that, but he also messed up too. So that era really didn't have a chance.
No, not at all. Another question was that Kendall had a showman to somebody. And this was towards era 1. Anissa didn't know. And I didn't know this because I wasn't plugged into those early seasons, but Kendall had a showmance with Mike the Miz. And on that question, Darrell and Brad fell. And I was like, oh, that on that point, I was like, I didn't know that, but that's interesting.
I didn't know it either. Like Kendall, I never really paid attention to her. I feel like I probably watched that season. Because I know she only did like one season. She might have done 1 or 2 seasons before she came back for All Stars. And I don't think I remember either watching that season or if I did watch it, I just don't remember her particularly. But yeah, I didn't know that answer either.
Yeah, that kind of thing goes into what I like to call reality trash box. Like once it happens and it's really not of importance, like it's not an iconic moment to the point where it has like me shook to my core, I'm not going to remember it. Like, sorry, not sorry. And of course, this is 20 years ago. Like, why would we know this?
Yeah. And Era 3 was the first group to get a question correct, where it was about a fight that Devin and Josh had, where he said, Big Brother sucks. And who was the person that he said it to? Josh. And Josh was like, hey, yelling back, and I'm like, yeah, no, we don't suck. We're cool. I'm like, okay, that's the first question y'all got. They gave the Era 3 some like easy questions that they would know at times too. And I'm like, what are y'all doing?
I also did like that question because it really showed like the effect of really having Big Brother on this show. And for me, like this show at the core is not about Big Brother. I don't even know you hoes. Like no shade, no tea, but you Survivor girls, you Big Brother girls, I'm giving Are You the One to pass because that is the last season of the quote unquote like off made show that I've watched. Well, all you other CBS girlies, I don't even know you hoes. So the fact that he can even scream like Big Brother doesn't suck on the side is crazy to me because this is an MTV show. Babe, this is not Channel 2. Like, I don't know. I really thought that was crazy that the fact that he could really just scream that and that's the show. That is literally we're on Big Brother, Survivor, Dancing with the Stars cast members.
I didn't no, what even that? It wasn't Dance with the Stars.
Y'all didn't know that.
Hey, no, I did.
Y'all didn't know he was on So You Think You Can Dance.
That's how I knew about Asaf. That's how I knew. I'm like, why is this man from my show on here?
I thought it was RuPaul's Drag Race.
He was awful on So You Think You Can Dance. He had no business because he was a break dancer, but he was awful. Like awful.
Wait, he was a break dancer?
Break dance.
He was a hip hop dancer.
As like
no, he was a break dancer. He could not dance.
Kind of break dancing? Like what kind of break dancing are we talking about here? He's been in the Olympics.
Break dance. Well, that was questionable. But he was good at breakdancing.
Let's question.
He could do some shit. But when it came to like musicality, because some breakdancers can do hip hop, but hip hop requires rhythm. He ain't got none of that. And when you ain't got no rhythm, you can't dance. No matter what the style is. If you have rhythm, you can make something look good. He ain't had it. He was awful. Oh my God. And they wanted him off so bad. They had people that was recapping the show talking about how they hate him, and I remember watching it in real time. They hated him, boy.
I was hated shows. No, it's crazy too because like after he did PDQ Dance, he went on Are You the One, and that was the same season.
I remember that.
That's when I was like, "Hey, why this man from that show on here? Like, you just want to get a check from every TV show at this point."
You know what? You just reminded me because when he got on the show, why did I not remember that he was on Are You the One? Because I was like, why did they cast somebody from So You Think You Can Dance to be on the challenge? But then again, like you said, he was on one of the earlier seasons. He was on like season 4 of Are You the One?
It was Tori season. It was literally Tori season it was Tori, Gio, and Kaylin.
And they could have got Gio on the show. They could have got Kaylin on the show. They could have got Prosper on the show. They have plenty of other people that they could have put on the show besides ASAP and Tori.
Yeah.
From their season.
We digress, though. We digress.
Crazy.
Crazy. So, yeah, and then Era 1 got a question about first Era Hall Brawl. Derrick got that question wrong as well, and he said it was CJ and Zach, but it was not. And on that question that he got wrong, CT was one of the guys who fell in the water, and he hit the water real bad.
That hurt
bad
me.
Landing. We're like, what the hell is going on? And Derrick in the confessional was like, did I accidentally just take out one of the best people on my team? I was like, hey, I don't know, but the way you just framed that, I'm like, that little sounds a little menacing. And I'm like, I don't like that. But I get he was very shocked.
The way he flipped, I said, ooh. Watching him hit that water, I knew that thing hurt. Because you know how you belly flop? That hurts. But it was like he did a whole flip, and I feel like he landed on his back, if I remember correctly. And that probably knocked the wind out of him, too. And then he's put on weight again. Because, CT, his weight fluctuates. Sometimes he'll be thin. Sometimes he'll be a little bit thicker. But that on top of hitting that water, I know his back was on fire.
Yeah, I already knew. Listen, he, like we mentioned last week, he talked about Darrell on his back. CT was one fall away from messing his back up, and look what happened. Like, the old don't fall far from the tree. You're not a so you might be careful in what you say and how you say it, because it's gonna come back to you real quick. And it definitely did for CT this week. And I felt kind of bad because when he came back into the house, he looked so disheveled and like so out of it. Like he looked like he just had an all-night bender. And I just was like, this is not the CT I love. This is not your grandmother's CT. Like, this is not who I want to be representing me on Era One right now. He looks a hot ass mess.
It was just like the way he just walked gingerly back in. I was like, damn. Like, go sit down. But he could barely sit down either.
It's so crazy that we've literally watched like him, Darrell, Annessa, all of them grow up. And we've seen them through eras of like young adulthood to now being like, oh shit, my back is kind of fucked up right now. Like, it's crazy.
And overall in this challenge, Era 4 was forward, like we all agreed. Theo and Kylan were the last men standing for their group. And then Kylan got a question incorrect, and they were done. They were out. So that meant that Horacio and Jenny were going to go into the nation. After them, Era 2 was also done. Era 3 just had Jordan by himself chilling against a whole team of Era 2, basically. And Jordan got Janae's and Doran's question wrong. He said her like first show she did that was not MTV like challenge or real related was like Spring Breaking. I'm like, everyone knows this. Like that's when I was like, okay, no, that's second strike. No, what's second strike? It was like second or third strike by the time. And I was like,
I didn't know.
What are you doing?
I knew she won the show. I knew she won the show before getting on the challenge. I didn't know what it was called. So I would have lost that too. But wasn't it like, was it something on MTV too?
No, Endurance was a show that was on a kids channel. It was a kids it was like the kids version of the challenge basically.
Oh, okay.
But like it was a different format, but it was basically a kids version of that. So every episode they had winners for the show. So yeah. Also, okay, we got to sudden death between Laurel and Jordan. And the first question when that sudden death was when did Paul Russell debut? It was the Duel. Laurel got that question correct. And then next question was who was Devin's rival on Rivals 3? And we know this question because we followed their journeys. Jordan knew that question because he was there. He was present for the gender reveal. But this man took forever. So like, I don't know. He was about to say Chantel because that's what Johnny and Vince called her on the show. And I was like, shut up. And then he said Sylvia. And it's like, bro, you know Corey's right there. He would just talked to you about Cheyenne the night before. Don't play in our faces. Like, that's when it was completely, I knew this man was throwing the challenge.
Because everybody knew that. Everybody there knows who Cheyenne is. You can't not know who Cheyenne is when you know Corey, and Corey has a firstborn child named Ryder whose mother is Cheyenne. And if you're around Corey, there's a period of time where you're gonna be around Cheyenne who was on the show. Like what? And then they're on Teen Mom very frequently, so you know who she is. That's MTV related. Like, it was bullshit. I'm like, you are horrible at. He's supposed to be like some actor or some shit too, and you perform that terribly.
He's also like a NASCAR driver / actor / we don't really care. You need receipts because why would you say Sylvia out of all the names? Like, you really tried to play hard, and I just don't like the fact that not only did you play in Corey's face, because like Corey said, you were at his gender reveal and you were there celebrating this child. Like, I feel like the bare minimum is not only to know your friend Corey, but also another person, like you said, who was on the show with you, Cheyenne. It's just it's a level of diabolical that I just can't stand with Jordan. And this is a part of it. So just to give a little backstory, because of course we get the story after the story on Twitter and on the recaps or whatever. Bananas basically said that him and Laurel had a situation where he was already locked in with her and she said, basically, I got you. Like, if you win, you're not going to go in. And once he felt so safe to think that, he threw the challenge. And of course, Jordan has debunked this and said that's not true, whatever the case is. But I wholeheartedly believe that if Laurel went back to Johnny and told her, like, yo, like, we're good, and then basically looked at Jordan on some kind of like, yo, we in this together kind of vibe, he would throw it. And to me, like I said, it's so early. It's episode 4. Why are you throwing the challenge already? I understand that Horacio is already lost and you don't want to go in. However, you are one of the best players ever to play this game, and you're so big bad. Why are you so scared to go against Horacio? Why is it all of a sudden we don't want the two best men to go against each other so early because we want the best men to run the final? We just want the best people to win. We just want the best show. We just want it to happen naturally. Can we do that? Can we not get trying to fix everything and make it so that, this person gets to the end? Let things happen how they're supposed to happen. And for Jordan to literally throw this challenge just so that he doesn't have to go in against Horacio, it's actually sick. And for as much shit as I've given Horacio, because he had a lot of help that first season he was in, the next season he came back, he kind of had to work a little bit harder for it. Like, he had to dig deep, like dig real deep to even get to that point that him and Kylan did at the end, and then Maurice took him out. For him to get to this point now where he's lost Maurice, he's probably done like 5 or 6 of the Mexican shows of the challenge. He's tired. I'm pretty sure that man is worn the hell out and he does not want to continue on doing this. So the fact that he has to even like try hard against, you got CT, you got Darrell, you got Brad, you got Jordan, you got people he's going to have to really like go against, and he's really trying to hold his own. Derrick too, I'll sprinkle him in there too. Okay, you got a lot of people who have had time to prepare. And I feel like Horacio does a lot on the side that he's like a little machine. For the fact you want to throw a challenge, Jordan, because you don't want to go against him on episode 4, is sick in the head. I'm sorry. That's literally crazy to me that they would throw this challenge like that.
Especially when you still can go down there. That's the thing. You want to make sure, like what Nia said, he needs to win this so that we can be safe. If you really want to be safe, you win the challenge, because you still are at risk of still going in, regardless of if you trust Bananas and Laurel like you think you do. They still could throw you in because on paper you are one of the best players to ever play this game. Why would they not throw you in there to secure that you possibly could go home? Because at the end of the day, you've won, 3 or 4 of these shows? Horacio is a very strong competitor, but he has not won. If anything, I would want Jordan out of the house. So I'd make sure that one of the strongest people would get him out. Regardless of what he's trying to do with this throwing shit, I would still throw him in, even if he threw it.
Yeah, it's weird. I was like, what's the point of all of this? Like you said, Alicia, we want to see people compete and get to the points in the show very organically. Y'all is producing on the fly and doing things the way y'all want to do it. And like, it's not gonna make us as a viewer enjoy the show if y'all are like, oh, I'm just gonna throw it episode 4 because I don't want to go in. Okay, you're gonna be fine either way. First of all, because even though it was gonna be a weird decision for Bananas, it was not gonna be a weird decision for Laurel. You'll be fine either way. You were not honestly gonna go in either way, because Laurel is not on that type of time in the first place. Bananas was teetering because like he got both sides, like, of choosing between either Derrick or Jordan. You weren't gonna go in because the weaker team is Era 1, who are holding on life support. You were fine either way. You did not need to do that. You could have just won and been in power, to be honest. You could have just did that, because you were answering every question correctly, but you just chose to throw everything. For what?
I mean, because him and Laurel has something going on. Like, child, I don't know. I really can't even answer that, to be honest, because I don't know. It's a like I said, it's a level of being diabolical that it's like, why would you even throw this so early just off of Laurel's word? And Johnny, of course, like he said later on, he's not going to pull a Tony and try to stand his ground against this. Like, he gonna let it happen. So whether it's Jordan, whether it's Derrick, good riddance, sayonara, good luck, brother. I'll see you on the other side. That's what it's giving. So it really was just a matter of, all right, like, let's just try to win. I don't know why he wouldn't try to win, especially when you had someone literally leave your team just the other elimination. Like, you're already another man down. Do you want to even risk it and try to go against Horacio? I just think that's crazy to me. But then,
yep.
I think the craziest out of all of this was once they won and Laurel pulled a black scent out of her ass. Laurel looked at Darrell and says, yeah, Darrell, and fuck you, Darrell. And Darrell's like, yeah, fuck you too, sis. Like, what's
fuck
up?
You too.
First of all, his energy, Darrell.
We ain't seen that shit
all
We
around.
ain't seen that. We ain't seen that Darrell since
in a minute.
Not even a fight with Brad. Y'all remember
Right.
when him and Wes got into it on that season, and he was going at it with him. I said, "This is Darrell I want to see."
Darrell has a level of that, like, he gonna give it to you. Pause. But he really gonna give you that, like, yeah, I'm gonna come at you. Like, what's up? And when Laurel decided to go at Darrell randomly, again, just because he threw her in as a target and she quote unquote won, because Jordan did throw this, so did you really win? But now she's going at Darrell. Her and Darrell are beefing. And two things. One, I feel like it's nasty that she tried to throw a low blow and say, yeah, continue to get massages, as is to say that it's coming from a sexual place or an inappropriate place when you know Darrell is married and has kids and really stands on him being a family man. I feel like that's just insane for Laurel to even throw out like that and try to have it as a low blow. When you know damn well you don't even work well in relationships. You over here bumping cooties with a thick-tongued girl who don't even treat you right, and you got the nerve to sit on your, like, girl, you got a lot of nerve to act like you better than anybody else. Like, let's relax with the relationship and the low blows. But I digress. Darrell looks at her and says, girl, fuck you. And I love it, because to the core, what is your problem? The other thing that she said that really, like, pissed me off was like, you're stupid, and it sounded in like a black accent. Like, it was given like she tried to throw a hood accent on it. And for you as this levels for you as a white woman, okay, I'm gonna go there, because she and Nerese went on it on Twitter, and she thought Nerese wasn't black, and she apologized, and she had all of this empathy and sympathy because she understands the plight. But for you to sit there and open your mouth and have that little black scent at Darrell because he's a black man at the end of the day, because I know you wouldn't throw that stank on there for no reason. You wouldn't do that to Cara. So miss me with the excuses. For you to even throw that on there like that, it's sick. And Laurel, you need help. What I like that Michael Jordan meme when he goes, seek help. Like, you need to seek help, because there's a level of just nasty work, like nastiness to the core, that Laurel exudes every time she's on these shows. And I give it an excuse, like, it's just Laurel, she's just strong-headed, she's just who she is, blah blah blah. And that's also true. But at the end of the day, you're a person, and I feel like you should grow. You should not have this at your core and, like, spew this out to people continuously when you're damn near 40. Like, at some point you got to grow up, mama. That whole scene right there, I had to watch it like 3 times. I'm not gonna hold y'all. Like, I literally had to rewind it because I needed my eyes and my ears to really be in sync to what was going on, because I could not believe it.
What you say? I mean, what you said sums it up. I can't say nothing else besides that. But watching that, because Naya was talking, Naya got emotional on live, which is crazy because but that's the thing, Naya, she done found she done found, when she started crying, I said, Naya, please, this is not the Naya that I know. But Naya, you can tell she's in this positive moment. She said when she watched Laurel do what she did there and with Cara, she said, and she started crying when she said this. She said, I can see this hate in her heart. She got so much hate in her heart. When I was watching that scene, I'm like, she's just projecting because I'm pretty sure some of this shit probably happened when she was dating Nicole. Nicole was probably out here massaging on other girls, yada, yada, yada. All this is projection. Then what you just said about the hate, I feel like she hates herself. There's no reason for you to be damn near 40 years old on TV acting like this. Like you acting like this in real time, in real life with no cameras is still crazy. But for you to be on TV doing this is some shit that a 22-year-old would do to think this is funny to get clicks on social media. But you done been on this show so many years and you ain't changed now one bit. And I'm glad Darrell got her together. I was cracking up because I was like, I hate that she brought it. I hate that she did that because it was messy. But then again, with Emily though, when she said that, I'm like, it's easy to throw it on Emily considering what Emily, her and Brad fooling around when Emily and Tori was like this. And it's like, okay, what kind of code is there that she's going for the ex? And you know Tori's crazy and Tori keeps tabs on Brad like she's still married to him. And then the whole shit that she said about Casey with Nani, saying that something like she wished she didn't say she wished that Casey would leave Nani, but something along those lines. I was like, ooh, messy. And then whenever she did threw that in there, I'm like, that's messy too. But then again, it's like, you know, if that happened, you know it was innocent. Because Darrell's not the type of person that's gonna end up entertaining somebody when he got a woman back at home who has his kids. And they've been married for a while too, and the kids is they ain't grown, but they growing up. So it's just messy. Like, why are you trying to break up a happy home because you don't have a home to break up?
Do you even have a home?
That part, fake ass bully, in the word of Darrell. Because why are you acting like this? Why? Like we said, y'all basically summed up my thoughts as well. But it was just funny too when she did call out Emily, and Emily was like, "Why me? Why am I in it? I'm not in your fight. That's you acting out, doing weird shit. That's not me. I help people heal. That's why I get them in a massage. You crazy, you wild, seek help."
Basically.
So, our losers for this daily end up being Jordan, Naya, Derrick, and Issa, who have to plead their cases to not go against Horacio and Jenny. And like you mentioned, Jordan was just trying to play nice with Bananas for the most part, but it's something they had going on that we weren't privy to beforehand. And Devin and Corey clocked that something was going on with Jordan and Bananas and Laurel. Because, like, why would you throw it? Like, they were all of us in that moment. Because they're like, hey, we both know he knew those stuff. He did it. So, how they move forward, I don't know, because they have to work them in. So, we'll see how that goes later on in the season. But it was also really funny to see Derrick try to game plan to keep Era 1 out of the nation because, like we said, they're on life support. Darrell back hurt because he threw it out. CT back hurt because he fell and he can't sit. Like, literally, we see CT laying on bed on the side. Like, I can't lay on my back. Darrell can't sit because my back hurt. They a mess. And Derrick is trying to hit the plan to really push the pit Jordan into nation because getting two strong guys out, whether it is Jordan or Horacio, is best for Era 1's men's game because they have more time to figure out how to survive every week.
I don't know how they're going to quote unquote survive because at the end of the day, you're still going to need your back. So as much as you laying on your side, CT and Darrell can't even sit on his ass, y'all gonna have to figure something out. Either you're gonna get a back replacement in the meantime, or you're gonna have to go home. Like, I get it that you're trying to hold on until as long as you can, but the name of the game is to play and survive. So if you can't do that, then you're gonna go home. Like it may not be this week, but it's gonna be soon with the way y'all looking.
Yeah.
Literally.
And Era 2 decided to call a team meeting because they wanted to put in their input for Bananas and Laurel's decision. Laurel told them, like, I wanted to send myself to help out Jordan because that's my guy. We have history. We're good. You helped me before on the season. I'm going to help him out. And Nehemiah was like, hey, like, the guys don't want to see Jordan in the final at all. So I get that's your friend. Y'all are cool, but you are not the one that has to go against him in elimination or in the final. He is the one to try and beat at this point. Let be logical, but obviously we already know Laura's not logical. She's just playing personal.
Was I the only person when Nehemiah popped up on the screen like, oh shit, you here? Because I didn't know the first 4 episodes. I'm like, was Nehemiah there? Because when he finally showed up on the screen, I was
the
like,
whole
shit,
time
here.
he
Man,
was probably in the studio making another
where
Palace
the
song.
fuck you come from? But he said the truth though. When anybody get on the TV, he do be saying some real shit. Like what he says is like, yeah, you're right. Like why would like get him in there? And Ryan, I'm liking Ryan this season too. Like Ryan, I didn't really care for whenever it came to like his previous seasons, but when it comes to strategy and his thought process behind the game, he's making sense. And you can tell he really don't fuck with Laurel.
Yeah, he
And I can't
clocking
wait
her
to
up
see
and
that play
down.
out.
Like it keeps getting worse and worse as time goes on. And it's
They
just
building
funny
it
to
up.
see how everything see everything plays out online and stuff like that because he really does not like her. But I think the meeting was pointless because where did they get to? Nowhere. Like Laurel still had her choice and still made her choice. They wanted to feel involved, but you're not involved. Like you're not safe. Like at the end of the day, it's her and Bananas' decisions, and essentially it's her decision because Bananas is not trying to go home and lose another check early. So y'all really gonna have to figure it out.
And she ain't gonna fold. That's the thing. She ain't gonna fold. And Bananas is Bananas. And I don't blame him. I would be the same way. If I know you're not gonna fold, I'm gonna just let you have it because I'm not trying to go down here. Like I'm not trying to gamble with my time here and gamble with my money. So yeah, it was null and void because I already knew. I was like, Laurel's not gonna fold. Bananas might try, but she's not gonna fold. And he's not gonna do what Tony did. So it's pointless.
Yep. We go to the chamber, and it was still cute to see how Derrick was trying to plead the case. He's like, hey, may I approach? Took his little paper with him and laid out his full-on case. Like, hey, basically like that. They're on my support. Yeah, we can help y'all out. We are not a threat. It's best, basically, y'all put in Jordan against Horacio, let them fight it out, may the best man win. And at the end of the day, like we kept saying, Johnny said it's basically Laurel's decision because he ain't gonna make a decision. And Jordan
I was
made a
impressed
point.
with Derrick.
Yeah,
Because Derrick is not
with that.
upstairs. Derrick don't normally have it. So for him to get out there and regardless if it was written down or not, he spoke it in a way that was very convincing. I was like, okay, Derrick, I see.
Yeah. Jordan made a point. They go like, I get respectfully, I get it, but you need people who are gonna be empowered to help you out. And Arrow 1 ain't gonna be empowered to help you out. I am basically whenever I win again in a daily, I can help y'all out. They can't do that for you. Like I get that point too, but you're just I didn't like this. But we go to the arena and the targets of Horacio and Jimmy come out. No decision was immediately made after the chamber. But they finally came to the decision, which was Laurel's decision in picking Derrick and Annessa. And TJ was like, oh, Bananas is a man of integrity. And I was like, well, that's very funny. We all know he's not, obviously.
No.
And he said like it was a personal decision, not strategic. So we're like, okay, we get it. Cool. The group is playing Pick It Up, where players have to shoot a ball up a bamboo track while it maneuvers through, and they have to pick up as many pegs as possible and grab them before the ball drops to the ground. And they'll have to place the pegs on a wall, and the first to get to 40 pegs will win. And if the ball falls, actually, and the pegs fall, they have to grab those pegs and further to throw the ball. And we start off with Annessa and Jenny, which I give Jenny her props because that lady had an asthma attack mid challenge.
I was gonna say give her props on what? Because
yeah,
it's
that's what I looked.
Annessa.
I was gonna say because
You
the one that
right.
I gave props to was Annessa.
It is Annessa.
Annessa, I was like, I was floored that she had more endurance than Jenny. And then Annessa was going back. She ain't stopped once. She kept going back and forth, back and forth. After like the second time, Jenny was over there taking pauses and breaks and stuff. I'm like, oh, so you all popcorn muscles. That's what that is.
Yeah, she on that roid rage for real, for real. I think I just thought it was funny because Annessa earlier in the episode, she and Jenny had a talk about how she's gonna help her keep her fit, and Annessa went on this whole little soliloquy about how she got injured and that's why she don't look the same and she got the weight on and she's still trying to run. No shade. I'm not trying to hear all that. Like, you have had ample time. And she's right. You don't have to look a certain way to be healthy. Clearly she has endurance, but the fact is that her endurance comes in spurts that can't keep her for the long term. And so she may have it in eliminations, but you're not going to have it in the finals. And that's the point of this. Like, it's not to get to the finals. It's not to get to elimination so you can fight another day. It's literally to win the final. And Annessa's endurance has shown time and time again, whether she is bigger or smaller, is that she just doesn't have it long term. And I need her to get like a marathon or like a 5K kind of endurance rather than, just a couple of minutes. Like, she doesn't have it. Like, you really don't have it. And yeah, that was all cute in that moment with her and Jenny. But at the end of the day, like, you don't have it for the final. So I don't get the excuses. Like, she keeps coming with these excuses time and time again. I'm going to get there. I'm this, and I have a great attitude. And girl, like, I am tired, Ma. I am so tired of her excuses. And the fact is that Jenny was literally on cardiac arrest on the side. She couldn't even hear her home self. She couldn't hear herself breathe. Her airwaves popping in and out like she on an airplane. And you still barely holding on by one lead, maybe two or three against Jenny. And she's over there having a heart attack. Like, that says something. Yeah, she kept up. She did her thing. She didn't quit. She was probably like one behind or maybe two behind at best. But at the end of the day, like, that's only going to get you to fight another day. That's not going to get you to the end. And Annessa tries to get to the end and just wants her friends to get her there. That's not how this game should be working. I don't have the excuses for Annessa. Good job. She did great. She held her own. Jenny survived. And Casey was on the side like, oh, I think Jenny's quitting. Casey, what would you know about anything at this point? Like, why are you even talking? what would you know? Come on now, please.
Like, what made you think that she was about to quit? It was like trying to catch her breath. She didn't say, oh, I think I'm done. That lady couldn't talk. She could barely breathe. Shut up.
I feel like they probably expected so much more out of Jenny, because I did too. But I don't know. Maybe she does have asthma. Maybe we just didn't know it, because that definitely could play a factor into it, because I have asthma. But then again, what she was saying too about Annessa, I was impressed that she was moving and she wasn't winded. But what you were saying too about what their conversation was about health and stuff, that is so true. Like, health. There's people that are a lot more bigger bone that are still healthier than people hella skinny. And my whole thing with Annessa is I've said it every single week on my recap. The reason why she will never win and will always be injured is because she's not active. You have to be physically active. You got to at least get your body up. You need to walk probably 30 minutes a day, do about maybe 30 minutes of strength training because her bones are so damn brittle. That's why she's always getting injured. She gets injured over just the most minute things. And I'm like, how are you getting injured over this stuff? It's because you're not healthy and your bones are brittle. You got to strengthen your bones. And when you're doing shit like this, as each season goes, it gets even more strenuous. You're never going to win. Like, you lost your chance at winning. You should have won decades ago at this point. You thinking you're going to win now with your bones the way they are? You're not going to win.
So at least if, like, granted, like, CT, his weight fluctuates. He still is active at some point. Like, it works. And Issa just tries to get active right before she gets called for a season. I'm just going to keep it like that. Because that's what it gives every time she comes on the show.
And CT, y'all remember, was it CT's last win? World of Worlds 2. He was not in his best shape, and he still won. Like, it can be done.
But that's a difference. That's just a difference in just who they are, period. Because, like you said, Annessa, when she was slamming the table on a duel, till now, she still can't win. She still can't do anything. Like, CT was at top shape at some point, but still has kept the level of that mentality and could just turn it on. She can't turn it on because she don't got it on. She never had it on. It don't work. The button is broken. You feel me? Like, she can't even get to that point. So she needs to get there before she even tries to keep trying to push and, you know, I can do this. Like, I get it. I get you want to get there, but let's be realistic. You're 42. You're still trying to do this thing in a way that you're going against 26, 24, 25-year-old people, and you're injured all the time, like you said, Grant. Like, it's not going to work. You literally, like, hit your foot on a rock, and all of a sudden you was out of a final, and you and Jordan lost that final off that leg alone. Like, it's just the little things that you can't keep up with. So how are you going to keep up with the whole season? And then the fact that she mentioned that she wanted to take out her weave because her weave was going to last. You and your weave can't last the whole season. Who sewed it in?
That blew me when she said that. You can tell she's trying to get a soundbite because I'm like, what?
Like, weave stay for long enough. Like, it can go. You can keep people leave weaves in for at least 3 months and still look fine.
We see Johnny look a hot mess with her weave in her head. She like there's no excuse.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, I feel like Annessa does some kind of hair, or I've seen her do hair on the show. Well, she's braided MJ's hair, sadly, but she's done hair, so she knows at least something she could do to upkeep herself. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
She's a black woman at the end of the day, and black women know how to do their hair. They might not want to always do it, but you know how to do your hair. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, we move on to the guys' version of elimination with Horacio and Derrick, and they were both going at a great pace. They were very close in their elimination. One point, Horacio's ball dropped, then Derrick's ball dropped. That kind of hindered them. And when Derrick's ball dropped and Derrick was in the lead, we got another CT pro tip where he said, when you're in the lead, don't get greedy. And I have had to get that in because every episode so far, we've gotten a CT pro tip. But he is correct. When you're in the lead, don't get greedy and be lazy about it. But Derrick ended up picking back up after that, even though Horacio, to our eyes, was in the lead this whole time. Until
you think so in the whole time, because I thought at one
to the
point,
graphic
before when Derrick had when that pro tip happened, when Derrick was grabbing more jacks than he needed to, in my mind I thought it looked like Derrick was like 2 or 3 pegs ahead of Horacio at one point, but when he dropped that's when Horacio picked it back up. I don't know. Maybe I gotta rewatch it.
No, like it was Derrick like who had the edge first, and then Horacio did catch up, and then it was just like back and forth
Yeah,
to
they was
that
neck and
point.
neck.
But it was down to the last peg, and they both, to our eyes, put the peg in at the same time. And the ending was very confusing because you see Horacio like, yay, and Derrick's like, what happened? And then we get a
Mm-hmm.
cut, and then we see TJ say, oh, um, y'all, it was very close, but the one I got in the first was Derrick. What are y'all thoughts about this ending?
When I saw it in real time, when Horacio did the check, I was like, "Oh, Horacio won." Because looking at his board, it was completely full. They didn't show because they showed his board in full. Like you saw the full board. When they panned to Derrick, they didn't show his. And I thought back to like when Mariah, y'all remember when Mariah was up against Nani and they had like a little like check at the same time. And then it was like they tried to throw us off a little bit. But I didn't think too much of it in that moment. I literally got on my damn camera and did my recap. And then I went on Twitter and saw everybody talking about it. And I'm like, maybe I was right. Maybe he did win. Then I saw that peg situation. And I was like, oh shit. Because it does look like he was
Maybe he did
cheating.
win. Maybe he didn't. Yeah, one, they edited it to the point where it questioned everything. And I get it. This is a TV show. But to the point where we all literally thought Horacio won, like you said. And to now have to double back and look at it again or look at it multiple times to see Derrick had his peg that was supposed to be in that top right hand corner. He had it on the other row at the bottom in another peg that had like 2 and 1. And then we get the background story from Derrick, like he had to have a referee pick it up because the board wasn't even working correctly. Horacio didn't have that on his side, so of course Maurice is going on Twitter going crazy about that. And then you have people stepping in who were there, like Rachel was like, Derrick 100% won, like it is what it is. Devin and Nehemiah was like, that shit took like 45 minutes for them to figure out who won or not. Like, it's just so many conflicting stories for people who were actually there that as the viewer, it's like, all right, I'm going to have to take this at face value. Horacio looked like he won. However, the picture on the other side of it looks like Derrick did win. I don't know what situation happened where he couldn't get all of his pegs into that hole, but it is what it is. Like Derrick looked like he won fair and square because he did have all pieces up on the board. So, but it just, the way that it looked, the optics of it is not, it was edited choppy. It looks crazy. It feels like we were cheated out of this. And, you know, it's just another blow of losing someone probably long term in the long run to be on the show, because Horacio has, you know, clearly stated after the fact that he doesn't feel, you know, like this is something he can do long term. And I don't blame him. Like, I'm coming back. I gave you 3 good damn seasons, I would say. Like 3 seasons of me putting in my all, putting in everything that I can do. This is what Horacio says. Oh, do I need
There you are, folks that
Oh,
might not
too
see it.
many factors out of my control. I had this immense pressure of proving myself as a challenger, but not anymore. I'm sorry. Thank you. That comment and statement basically is saying like, thank you MTV, but I'm going back to Telemundo. Like, you can kiss my ass. Like, what did Laurel say at the end? Buenas suerte. También. That's exactly what Horacio told MTV and Paramount. Like, peace out. I'm done with
Kiss
y'all.
it.
Y'all can have it. Like, I'm
Like
cool.
Jocelyn
And I
said,
don't
you know where
blame
you can
him.
kiss it.
Listen, you can kiss the culo, okay? I feel kind of bad because as much shit as I've given Horacio in his up and down seasons of how he came in so hot and how people were so like behind Horacio, to the fact where he had to fight back for it in the second season that he was in. His girlfriend beat him like fair and square, outright, and then he comes back this season to redeem himself again. Horacio is working hard, baby. Okay, I done seen him on 2-3 different shows, working. That man, the cartel got him working down there. Okay, so I know that Horacio is tired, and he's probably like, listen, this is another 3 to 6 months of my life that I don't have to dedicate to this, because production is doing what they want to do. At the end of the day, they get rules, they get what to be, how to maneuver this game, and what the, like, plain out simple what the rules are. And if one person gets something that is excused and he doesn't, it's just not fair, and I get it. So it's really sad to say. Now I kind of wish we did get Jordan Horacio if this was Horacio's last run, because I would have loved to seen that battle go against each other. Not to say Derrick isn't great, but I would have loved to seen Jordan Horacio, just because that's just the better matchup in my opinion.
Yeah,
agree.
because on paper, I wanted to see Jordan versus Horacio. I was like, give Arrow one a break, to be honest. But that would have been a better matchup for me. I love Derrick, scrappy. I give him that. But now he gets, with this, he gets to live and shit of the day in the house. But the way that this is ended, it put a bad taste in my mouth, like we've been saying. I'm like, everything we have this conversation about them, and I'm not going to dive into it again because we already did. But I'm just like, I'm being very wary about who is going to be coming back in the near future. Like you said, like Horacio just got here, has a great story, and is very competitive. If you keep doing this, people who are just coming onto the show, they're not going to come back. And people love Horacio. So if Horacio's not going to be there, they're not going to want to come back and watch the show. Because even though we have people that are still here that we love, but seeing someone that's brand spanking new on the scene and be like, it's getting a little wary. But Horacio will be good. He'll go back and do another show in Mexico for like half a year, and he'll be fine.
He probably get a good check over there, so he ain't gonna be upset.
Yeah.
Listen, he
For him to be on that show for
than pesos, okay?
for him to go back and do that show numerous times, he definitely getting a good check over there.
Facts.
And he knows that that's fair. He knows that I'm not gonna get cheated out of me winning for real for some carnival games. So
no, for real.
And with that, Derrick won, and Derrick and Jenny picked their targets for the next week. And a lot of people were volunteering. Tina was like, I'll do it. CT said, I'll do it. Emily was like, I'm fine with y'all picking me. Y'all good. Nehemiah got picked as well from Era 2. Apparently, Devin expected Corey to take the shot for Era 3. And I'm like, why don't you take a shot? I know y'all like, oh, everybody's gonna get a chance. Why
I thought I was tripping because, like, when they had that conversation, I'm like, nobody said Corey do this or Devin do this, because the way he was acting, he made it seem like they agreed that Corey was the next one in the rotation. I'm like, I don't remember ever saying that. So I'm like, why don't you volunteer? Why does Corey have to be the one to go down?
Maybe I know Josh definitely was the one who like volunteered himself, but I feel like Corey was agreeing with him on the side to the point where it's kind of like, maybe, like he would do it too. And I think also with Corey, the thing is, you know how Corey comes in all the season. He comes in hot. He's ready to make moves. He's ready to have relationships and leverage this and do this and blah, blah, blah. And then when it comes down time to it, he can't do shit. But I'm honestly with y'all on this. It's like, it's either Devin or Corey. I feel like I'm misremembering. Like, I feel like Corey might have said something to like volunteer himself, but at the end of the day, Corey decided to just not say anything. I feel like the worst of it obviously was Josh, because there was a full-fledged conversation with Jenny about her By the way, I don't even understand what Jenny be saying half the time. I need
Me
subtitles for her.
either. Me
Like,
either.
girl, this really reminded me the fact that I really like the seasons that she was on. I'm like, girl, like I need subtitles for you. Like I need closed captions in English. But nonetheless, her and the whole era was having a conversation about whether or not she wanted to mess relationships up, and so she volunteered. Like, how should she vote with the target? And Josh was front and center, like, I'm a better person. I've committed myself to doing this, so I'll put myself up there. And when it came time to with that thick tongue was quiet, ain't said a peep. Okay, you didn't say not one word, and I thought it was very strange. But you know what? It is who he is at his core. Like I said earlier, Josh likes to put on a show. He likes to clock in and go to work for TV. And that's exactly what he did. He said absolutely nothing when it came time to it. And you know what? Kylan reluctantly, but Kylan took that mantle. He was like, you know what, Josh, you're not gonna say nothing? All right, cool. So Jenny looked Kylan's way, and Jenny put Kylan up there. And Kylan took it with stride. He was like, somebody's got to do it. Kylan's a little funny though, because I ain't gonna go there, but you're a little funny for Kylan. But at the end of the day, Kylan is up there. Also, Michelle. Oh, she was like basically the more people who like put themselves out there, the more that I can hide and all this kind of girl. Take this Survivor ass game back to Survivor. I'm tired of you. I'm so tired. Like, it's no way you can keep coming on the show trying to hide, trying to play games, that was why the last season sucked so bad, because you and your friend was trying to run the show and trying to have friends all of a sudden and hide behind other people. Like, that's not how this game works at the end of the day. And I'm so glad that OGs are on the show and people who have played the game for a long time. Like, even though they're friends and have intertwined with each other, they're going to shoot their shot. Like, they're going to take their targets. So, Michelle, your time is coming soon, sis. Don't worry. You can't hide behind other people forever.
And Josh, he's a bitch, because Josh bitched out when he saw CT was a target. I said, you bitch. I was like, of course she was not going to stand on all 10. I knew he was going to fold. I'm like, you punk.
Because the last time we saw them against each other, literally, they showed the clip. I want the goof. We saw the clip. He's like, I want the goof. He had flashbacks real quick.
He's a trip.
But and then also Olivia was the woman choice of sorts to be the target.
She volunteers. She's like, I'll go. Okay.
Because Casey wasn't going to do it either.
I was going to say, because Casey should have been down there. Like, you the football player. Like, you go ahead and be the target. Because if anybody on their team that should win, it should be her if she ends up in an elimination. Because on paper, the only person in this game that I see her having trouble beating would be Rachel.
Yeah, that's about it.
Her, Laurel,
and Cara. Damn, why I forget about Emily? I forgot about them. Cara.
Emily, I can see her Emily in there. Emily. Yeah, Emily. I can see her being. Emily is flighty. Like, it just depends on what the situation is, but I may give the edge to Casey. Cara, on the other hand,
somebody put a clip, old clip of Cutthroat. Y'all remember that challenge? They did that pushing the thing, and they put that clip on Twitter today, pretty much calling her weak because she went flying. I think this is when Cara was like weak, like when Cara had no muscle definition at all, and she knocked Emily, and Emily went flying. So I could see Casey beating her.
Yeah, I can too.
Yeah. So those are the targets for next week. But that was a good quality episode. A lot going on all at once just for episode 4. We had, like we started, we had people that were pump faking and just being weird. That's the moral of this episode. So
and I like that they're showing the drama this season. They're actually showing the drama this season. They're not trying to act all PG. Yeah, we wrong. We want to see people cussing people out. I want to see them fighting.
Because next week, Kara's gonna get in the middle of Michelle and Laurel, and we're about to get in that Lemon's face again. And I'm not
That
gonna like
stupid bitch that emphasis on the bitch that she called. I said, you really got some
No,
true hate
Laurel
in
is
your
a
heart for
really
her.
fake bully, bro. Like she really gives fake bully. Like somebody really needs to knock her peg off for real, for real.
But Cara be pissing me off sitting there crying. Like I'm like, Cara, please hit her.
That's the problem with Cara is Cara's always been the victim. Cara has always been the victim. And there's at certain points where she's literally poked and provoked to the point where she needed to get her ass told something. And then there's other times when she doesn't really do much, but she's so sensitive. I don't know if she's overly sensitive or she's like super kind, whatever the case. I don't know, Cara. But to the point where you start crying is where you're losing me because, girl, fight back. Hold back them tears and stand there and say something. Like, yeah, don't let this girl punk you. And Laurel, that's how she feels. She is like an older sister, bigger sister, even though they're the same damn age almost. But it's like Laurel always trying to punk Cara, and it's like, Cara, at some point, you can't, like last season in All-Star, she told her to shut up, crazy. You cannot let this lady keep punking you. It's been like 15 years of this. When are you gonna stand up for yourself?
She got all up in her face in that All-Star scene. Got up in her face, called her a bitch and everything. I said, Cara, please. If somebody got that close in my face, we gonna be in there scrapping. Shoot.
But with that, we'll get into some of the tweets I saw on the timeline from this episode. The first tweet comes from Darrell himself. Well, damn. I guess I should have had Josh doing my massages.
Hey, yo.
Josh would have enjoyed it.
Hey, yo. Pause, my brother. Pause. Right, we go play that pause game on here. All right, pause, brother.
What, Josh?
Dude. Josh would have had a ball. He'd have done it free of charge. He took his time.
The next tweet. Jenny knowing darn well Josh volunteered, then getting amnesia and tweeting Kylan. She's so funny to me. Because we saw the tape. The other tweet I had was a Narisa tweet, but we already discussed it. Last tweet. Darrell was going toe-to-toe with her until she brought up his marriage, and then he disengaged because she took it to a new level that was so unnecessary. Don't even bring up marriage when you alternate between ugly lesbians who cheat on you and old men who pay you.
Oh, clock it. And I'm glad he disengaged too, because why am I gonna go back and forth with you over some shit that's not true? Like if he would have engaged in that, then he would have looked like he probably was doing something. So for him to not do it made her look like and it's like, let me give you the floor. You want to perform? I'm gonna give you the floor to make yourself look like a bigger fool than you are looking right now. So good up you, Darrell.
The fact that she kept going is what could like continue to make her look more like a fool. Which I'm glad Darrell was like, he said something, but he put a pin in it until the point where she just like took the rope and hung herself with it. And literally, I'm completely fine with that because at the end of the day gotta end. And she not going. She's not gonna get nowhere far to keep going back and forth. You're not gonna get nowhere far going against Laurel.
Nope.
With her saying absolutely nothing. Like, come on now.
Yeah, like he said, fake ass bully. Because
literally,
why are you being the floor winner right now? That was my thing too. I'm like, yeah, that man made you a target, but you won. Why are you trying to get at me? But you won. Shut up.
Right, and you can't do nothing with him no way. You can't throw him in the elimination. So what you gloating about?
Yeah. And those are the tweets from this week's episode.
That was a lengthy episode, but it had a lot of things
Talking
to
points.
discuss. Yeah, and
Mhm.
honestly, it's only episode 4. I'm a little concerned that we have about 27 more weeks of this. But
Me too.
if if the drama keeps up, I'm okay with it. However, I know that people are gonna keep going home. Obviously, like Megan mentioned, next week we have Laurel versus Cara, Pseudo versus Michelle. So that should be something to look forward to. But yeah, we have more challenge to discuss. Grant, is there anything that you're looking forward to? I know that you kind of like sometimes check out. So like, what is something that's going to keep you to hold on, brother, to watch this
As,
season at its full potential?
as long as Nia Moore is there, I'm gonna watch. Even though she ain't the same Nia Moore, I'm gonna always be there when Nia's there. But I feel like this season is gonna hold me. I do. I feel like this is gonna be the first season I'm going to watch from start to finish. And I feel like with the OGs being there, I feel like everybody that's on Era One, I would watch to see how far they make it. Era Two has a lot of hotheads, so I know there's gonna be drama. Era Three, take Naya out of Era Three and take Corey out of Era Three, and I could toss and John A. I could toss the rest of them. They could go bye bye. Same with Era Four. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be here. But I'm excited to see how this story plays out. I want to see if there's gonna be any different twists. See if they actually finish off in teams. I don't know. I'm just ready to see how this is gonna play out.
You know,
Yeah,
I just realized, real quick, I'm sorry. I just realized Era 1 only has 2 women on their team now. And that
True.
is Rachel and Tina.
And then Rachel.
That's gonna
And then they
be
got two.
interesting.
They got two. They got 2 men over there who is on their last leg, and then you got Derrick the pit bull. They in some deep water. They in some trouble over there.
And then you got Brad being a Viking that don't do nothing.
And I forgot about him. That dirty beard that he needs to cut. Like a beard don't need to be that damn long, because if it's that long, you probably ain't cleaning it.
we already know he not. But yeah, I just think that let's hope this season continues to give us nostalgic drama, a little bit of controversy, not too much. I don't want to keep having to question what's going on in eliminations production
Right.
things. But let's keep up the pace of this show. We will be back obviously to discuss more of the challenge. You can watch Grant's recaps. He does his like Wednesday at like 11 o'clock. Okay, Grant be on it. He be working. Him and
Because if I
Horacio,
don't,
they working.
if I don't, it ain't gonna get done. It ain't gonna get done.
I
gotta
love
do
it.
the minute watch it.
Dedication. But you can click the description below and to check out Grant's channel. You can follow Megan at Megan Hines. You can follow myself at S5. You can follow Grant at Looking for G. Is that correct on Twitter?
That's correct.
Okay, yes, girl.
And make sure y'all thumbs up this video. Thumbs up that video. Drop a
Thumbs up the
comment.
video and make sure you engage, comment, subscribe, all of that. Do that with Grant's channel as well. We'll be back to discuss more of the challenge. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you for coming as usual.